second half. They know they've got to fight back, trailing 14 points to 6, and 40 minutes away from doing exactly that. Obvious thing to say, Steve-O, but New Zealand have to score first.
I think you're right, mainly just to build their own confidence. They had a good 15 minutes in that first half when they came up with a try to Manu, but they were looking a little bit tired. They were very happy to go to the dressing rooms at half-time. Their biggest problem, of course, is that they can't just shut down Lockyer and Thurston. They've just controlled everything.
And Wayne Bennett, who is acting as the coaching assistant to Stephen Kearney, he is coaching against Darren Lockyer for the first time in his long career, and he knows the problems, of course, that Darren Lockyer can pose to the opposition, as that kick from Thomas Luluai just trickles its way over the dead ball line. And the other sort of local confrontation, of course, is between the likes of Steve Matai and Brent Tate. They're going hammer and tongs at each other, aren't they? And Manu Vatuvei and Brent Tate, rather, not Steve Matai. Manu Vatuvei, the human wrecking ball, as Phil calls him.
Well, they probably want to get the ball a little more often to him if possible. I think New Zealand will have some belief, Eddie, from half-time, in the knowledge that Australia had the majority of possession in the first half. That tends to even itself out. But they're going to have to hang on here.
They are, because Falau, well, they get away with it maybe. The ball, though, is agreed to have gone backwards by Ashley Klein. Not played at, he said, but Billy Slater now trying to carve them open down the middle. That's the fourth tackle. The pass inside from Israel Folau, not the best. Here, though, is Thurston. Look at Lockyer, he just hangs around, doesn't he, behind the play, drifts into the action, gets the ball away, and Inglis is tackled by Sam Perrott, and he'll play the ball to Cameron Smith. Cameron Smith loses it, and that's a knock-on. Another big let-off for New Zealand.
Certainly was. A wonderful tackle by the winger, Sam Perrott. Look, for all the world, they're going to get through there. It's the opportunity keeping out. This is the knock-on. Just could not control it.
On the cross, Adam. On the cross.
We mentioned last night, of course, that England will benefit from the run-out against Papua New Guinea, the hit-out they had, because some cobwebs would be blown away. Same must be said of Australia and New Zealand, Phil, and of course it's the Australians for England next up in Melbourne next Sunday.
I would say so. There could be an element of frustration now for Australia in this game. They've missed several chances to score. That's probably another one once or twice been over the line, in fact, and dropped the ball. So I think if New Zealand were to score, there might be an element of panic, particularly amongst the younger, inexperienced Kangaroos.
Yes, with the English hat on, I don't suppose that the Australians will squander as many chances against us as they have done tonight.
Well, they're a little bit rusty, as you say, but there's not much rust showing on the experience of Darren Lockyer. And that's the reason when he regained his fitness, there was no hesitation. Darren Lockyer was always going to be the Australian captain.
Yes,
Such
just
a
reinstated.
unique cog, isn't he?
Yeah, reinstated to the role. Even though, as I said earlier, Cameron Smith led the Aussies to the last two wins against the Kiwis.
Well, the kick and chase, Eddie, in rugby league at test level is such an important indicator of how things are going. New Zealand, for the first time in quite a while, got a good kick in, and Steve Matai went at 100% effort to get down and contain Joel Monaghan.
Over Thurston in a little half break. That was an important tackle by Wigan's Thomas Luluai. And that was Stewart who got the ball away. Lockyer off that trusty left boot of his. And it means that the New Zealanders have to run this ball back.
Look at the chase. Green and gold, one solid line, 7 players.
Well, they were just absolutely determined not to let Vatuvei get up ahead of steam again.
Good job that Luluai just got the ankle in the end. First real opportunity that was seen from Thurston. That's the question. He's been quite happy just to play the role as the link between his captain Darren Lockyer.
I'm amazed that Steve Matai is out there again with that wrist.
Brave. It just shows you that when it comes to rugby league test matches, World Cup matches, you've got to be a tough hombre. Oh, it's great work from the fullback.
It is Lance O'Hire chasing the little grubber kick through by Benji Marshall. And Lance O'Hire getting in the tackle on opposite number, Billy Slater. Cameron Smith at dummy half. And here they come again with Glenn Stewart. And O'Hire, that's 3 tackles on the run from the fullback.
Different style of defence that we've seen in the second half. Stephen Kearney has changed it. He's brought them very tight in and around the play the ball area.
Smith, Thurston, wide they go, Monaghan. Mattai's missed him this time, ball played inside to Inglis, Inglis on to Thurston. Went round 360 degrees, gave it to Cameron Smith, had all the time in the world, the Kiwis hanging off. Adam Blair, he got to him eventually, it's Lockyer, it's Thurston. Misses out Inglis, finds Monaghan. Oh, brilliant pass back into the arms of Inglis. Great strength and another wonderful pass to Thurston. And nutmegged was the defender. But to the rescue came Eastwood, I think it is. Yes, it is. Greg Eastwood came to the rescue of the Kiwis there. But look where they're trying to get out and away from. That's their try line.
Skill factor from Australia there, quite superb. Not afraid to keep this ball alive, and now they realise that they've got their opposition in a pretty strong area. Look at that defence. Look how condensed it is.
Just not giving the Kiwis room to breathe, never mind play rugby league. There's the man again, Manu Vatuvei. Brent Tate, by the way, the fellow who nearly cleaned out in the first half, rates him as the most explosive talent in this World Cup.
Oh, he said play on.
He did say play on.
Surely that was forward. And an intercept there from Inglis. That was a gift. They could pay a big price here, the Kiwis.
I think they'd given themselves up then, the New Zealanders. I think they believed that the referee was going to pull them back for a knock-on. It was a bit lackadaisical. This is Petros Sivanasiva, one of the most experienced forwards in Australian Test history, that fellow. Lockyer with the short ball, dropped it off, looking for Lafranchi. Cameron Smith. Lockyer again, scheming all the time. Here's Folau! He's got the ball now. Israel Folau, first try of the second half for Australia. Increases the lead. Big, powerful, skillful Israel Folau. Began the World Cup with 3 tries to his name in the green and gold.
Basic rugby league football. Do the hard work in the centre, suck in the defence, and that's what they did, and quick hands out wide. And when you've got a body like this fella, Israel Folau knew that the power and strength would get him over. The linking in Australia in the 3-quarter line tonight has been quite superb.
Yes, and Israel Folau, a wonderful talent at just 19 years of age. He became Australia's youngest ever international when he got 2 tries against New Zealand in the 58-0 victory against them last year.
Eddie, in a rugby league sense, Australia have just tortured the Kiwis for the last 5 minutes. If you remember that they moved the ball around and asked a lot of questions over on this left-hand side, and New Zealand survived. But then when New Zealand got the ball, the focus and intensity from Australia was such that defensively they dominated every play. Then they threw the ball in desperation. Australia intercepted the ball through Inglis, and they were never able to clear that 30-metre zone. That has been fantastic control over your opponents, both with and without the ball.
You say it's for 5 minutes, Phil. It's for about 35 years, isn't it, that they have tortured international rugby league opposition.
The thing is, Eddie, that you cannot afford to come up with errors, mistakes, like the intercept.
Fair enough, fair comment. Here's Thurston to try and add the extras. Kicking magnificently tonight, but not on this occasion. It's 18-6.
The score remains Australia leading New Zealand.
Quick hands yet again.
6.
Just knew they had the body strength. Look at that. Well, you spoke about the Vatuvei. He just got pushed away, didn't he, by Folau?
So the New Zealanders restart. And Stewart tips the ball inside. Cameron Smith, the architect-in-chief, back in the green and gold jersey.
He's had a tremendous match.
He's had a tremendous career, isn't he? I mean, we've talked
World's
already to the likes of Wally Lewis and Peter Sterling on this tour. I mean, they're likening him and comparing him to the greats of the game, aren't they? People like Clive Churchill.
And fully deserved as well.
Thurston, ball back on the inside. With defence called upon by Sam Rapira to halt Brent Kite. Now they're trying to stop Glenn Stewart again.
Wonderful control. They know exactly what's happening out there.
Up it goes from Thurston's boot. Monaghan is hunting this. Nobody looked interested, and the ball bounces in the field of play over the sideline. It will be head and feet at the scrum to New Zealand, but 10 metres away from their own line.
Well, not the best thing to do to allow the ball to bounce, and Joe Monaghan put a lot of pressure on them. Thurston's kicking, as well as Darren Lockyer, has been quite superb.
Eddie, when you're behind like this, 12 points on the scoreboard, your opponent's in control, you need a player to come up with an inspirational play. One of the Kiwis has to come out, somehow carry the ball and run over the top of an Australian. And once that will happen, the energy it will provide for his teammates might make a difference to the black and whites.
They're in possession here with Sitimata Sa.
I guess it's hard, isn't it, when Australia prepared to commit 4 and 5 defenders to so many of the tackles.
The biggest problem is that the likes of Lockyer and Thurston, they give themselves plenty of space. They stand a lot deeper. We haven't seen the same from Benji Marshall and Thomas Luluwai. Now, we know Thomas Luluwai is not the fastest halfback in the world, and that is a problem that their coach Stephen Kearney has got to try to overcome.
Gone for a 40-20 here, and that bounced off the legs of Billy Slater, and he's able to pick it up and pass it then inside to Joel Monaghan, who just moved in field just to cover him. Listen, is it just me, or is this a much more demanding, quicker and more physically demanding match than we saw last night in Townsville?
Without a doubt. And I'm sure that the English boys will be watching this with interest. They realise they've got to up the tempo. They know that they can't allow the same amount of latitude that they did with the Papua New Guineans last night.
Here's Thurston again.
If you do that, the green and gold, Eddie, you're going to be ripped apart.
Price back on and Paul Gallup.
And Stewart once again for Australia.
Gets through a lot of work, doesn't he?
He does. On his
Second
debut
rower.
from Manly, the champions of Australia won the premiership this year. High hanging kick. O'Hire is underneath it. It's away from Price. That's a good ball. Oh, fantastic tackle, low down though.
Got to be penalised.
Falau.
Falau was, he knew exactly what he was doing. It would surprise me there if Ashley Klein would have whipped out a card and said take 10 minutes sin bin. That's a professional foul if ever I've seen one.
Well, Eddie, in the first half, Australia denied New Zealand a chance to attack for 19 minutes. We're at about the 13th minute in the second half, and all of a sudden New Zealand just get again within sight of the try line, but I don't know what energy got left, because Australia controlling so much around that ruck area. It's what Ricky Stewart has made his coaching reputation based on.
Halatau flicks the ball up there to Nathan Kalis. 23, 24 metres away from the line, maybe. Halatau again, back it comes to Luluwai. And here is Steve Matai once again, met head on by Inglis. Now Luluwai. And again, Kalis, who only nearly lost the ball in the collision, hangs on under extreme pressure.
They've got to look for the inside ball, try to just stretch this Australian defence.
Luluwai again, this is Mannering. Mannering then to Matai. Last tackle here for New Zealand, 10 metres away. O'Hire will hoist the kick.
Not the best.
Palm back, and surrendered to Darren Lockyer. He just waited for the chance, and the chance came. Here's Falau again. Australia very impressive, New Zealand not so. I think for that we have to credit the fact that Australia are playing so well in this opening match.
Yeah, they've got good shape.
Shivanasiva, and they went for the interception. This is Thurston. The ball then back to Billy Slater, who is dealt with by 3. He plays the ball to Smith. Smith to Lockyer. Always seems to have time, Darren Lockyer, to decide what to do.
He gives himself space.
Falau on the last will play it. Here he is again, Lockyer. Look, no one near him. Left-footed kick. Danger here. Work to do. Oh, wonderful chase. He just couldn't get away, Sam Perrott. Fantastic chase.
Brilliant.
Billy Slater.
And it's all basic, but it's done with so much efficiency.
Don't forget,
Bang. This is your job. Get there, in number. Slater does it.
So quick, isn't he?
Tremendous. Controlling everything. Lockyer's kick, superb. Equal to it is the tackle. Good, solid, basic rugby league. What a talent this guy's got.
So it's a goal line dropout that Australia have forced. Reaches halfway, and Joel Monaghan from the boot of Benji Marshall. Here comes Stephen Price.
I get the impression that the Australians now, when they go into the final quarter, they'll say, okay, 18-6, we can afford to start looking and turning the tackle, offload a little bit.
You think they might put on a show for us then?
Yep.
The opening night of the World Cup for them.
I'm sure.
This is Gallen.
They're getting over the advantage with considerable ease.
Untidy play the ball. Thurston, Lockyer back on the inside. It's Slater. 4 gone. 2 in the bank for Australia. Smith. Thurston stabs the kick in behind the defence. This time it's picked up. But they're swarming all over the man in possession, Lance Ohio. And they're not letting this fellow, Manu Vatuvei, get up ahead of steam again in this second half.
That's the difference, isn't it? At the play the ball, first and second markers have really just... But look at that one line of defence. They're not man on man. The defensive quality is so condensed, there's nowhere for them to go. New Zealand will think that Australia have got 26 players out there.
Ethan Feen with a little scampering run from dummy half. That's 4 gone. They're still 30 metres away from their own line. It's a desperate kick from Benji Marshall. It bounces kindly for Monaghan, and Monaghan escapes the clutches of one. Can't get away from the next 2.
Beautiful feint from Monaghan there. And you can just sense the crowd. They're lifting. They want points.
Well, they're lifting and they're doing a Mexican wave, which always, I think, indicates that they believe that this match is done and dusted as far as the green and golds are concerned. Stephen Price plays the ball to Kurt Gidley. Gidley then to Glenn Stewart. Gidley again. And here is Thurston. Now it's with Lockyer. Lockyer to Slater. Slater, he got the ball away to Tate, but couldn't take the pass in. You know,
you have to admire New Zealand. They're dealing with tremendous adversity here. 56 minutes, they're still in this game, Eddie. 12-point deficit gives them still a chance. A further score to Australia in the game probably will be over as a contest because of the physical dominance Australia have had. Brent Tate seems to be injured. He's still lying on the floor. Down to 12 men. Is this a chance here? Short side play from New Zealand? Oh, they've come up with a handling error.
And Brent Tate looks in a bit of a mess.
Doesn't know where he is. They'll be taking this guy off the field of play, that's for sure.
10 tries before tonight for Australia, including 7 in 8 meetings against New Zealand.
Well, the Australian trainer with the orange top on there, Ron Palmer, has indicated to the rest of his management team that Brent Tate will be coming off. He's signalled, I think, a stretcher here. Maybe a shoulder injury. He was a neck brace, Brent Tate, when he played, from a serious neck injury some years ago.
I think he might have got a stray stud. Either way, is not well.
No, he's not. He needs attention and he will be taken from the field. Any clues here as to what happened?
I think he might have got a stray stud up here, up the face. Yeah, as he's strode away. The full back.
Isn't it his shoulder, Steve? What do you think?
I don't know. I don't think he's with us.
He leaves the field. Brent
He's in
Tate.
considerable pain.
As you're right, they reckon that neck brace actually has saved Brent Tate's rugby league career.
Well, there's the doctor for the Australian side, Hugh Hazard. He's been with them now for almost 10 years, you know, and the experience that they managed to retain in the game. They keep a lot of people involved. Even if the coach changes, many of the staff stay the same.
And the pattern stays the same for Australia, doesn't it?
So much power as well, haven't they, in the three-quarter line?
Oh, without a doubt. And they are the team, the nation, that everyone else will have to try and knock off if they're going to win this tournament.
Well, for over 30 years, Eddie, they've been producing three-quarters as big as the forwards. That's always been a great advantage, and you can just sense that the Kiwis are struggling, but they've come up with an intercept.
They have. Price tried to offload that. Lanso High was very quickly to it.
Well, if ever a side needed a penalty given, and that's New Zealand, they just can't get out of their own quarter. They need some sort of assistance. Penalty will take them 40, 50 metres downfield.
He's still in trouble, Brent Tate.
You know, Eddie, it's all about the speed of the play of the ball here. And Australia, by putting 3 and 4 men into tackle, have slowed New Zealand down. I think that will be a big talking point for England, Australia and New Zealand here, the speed around the ruck.
Chances here, though, as the little half break from Jerome Rapati is halted, and Brent Tate is in all sorts of strife.
Okay, right.
And the kick, well, it's not a good one. Straight into the arms of Joel Monaghan.
Well, they've got there in numbers on that occasion. Now they've got to do to Australia what the green and golds have been doing to them very effectively in this second half. Field position has been all one way, and is in a lot of pain.
They're obviously very concerned about Brent Tate with this tournament just beginning 4 weeks ago. And missed tackles are growing in number for the Kiwis. Look at this run from Thurston. Oh, he nearly got the ball away.
Play on, this will be a try. Came
Slater
off his
goes
leg.
over. The referee will hand it upstairs to Steve Ganson.
Just check to see whether he knocked that ball on.
Wants to check if it's a knock on or whether it came off the chest. The celebrations again
I don't
seem
think
to
it came off.
indicate.
I don't think it came off his hands, Eddie. I think this is play on. Slater will be given the try. But what a run from Jonathan Thurston. New Zealand just couldn't put him down.
Well, alarmingly, they fell off the tackles.
Bit of lady luck will go in the way for the fullback Billy Slater. I think he knows it too, but Thurston just toyed with him, going far too high.
The fantastic run.
Slips the ball away.
Off the knees.
Yep. This will be try time. Actually did well, Ashley Klein, to get out of the way. This will be given. This will be TRY.
Well, New Zealand have been like a boxer on the ropes for 60 minutes, Eddie, but I think that's the knockout punch. I really do that, and a pretty good skillful one. You see what I like about Jonathan Thurston? He'll throw the pass one, he'll take the chance because he's got confidence in the skill of his teammates.
When you've got an effective lead, you can risk that sort of thing. But what a talent.
Yes, remarkable, and playing, of course, under great mental adversity with the death in the family. Try is given to Billy Slater. 22 points to 6, and this impressive first night performance from the Kangaroos goes on, gathers pace. Billy Slater, 25 years of age. Melbourne Storm, back line of defence, but how good is he in attack as well?
Going far too high. You cannot afford to do that. Full of confidence. Great support play for the fullback. Got himself in that position. They have thrown the gauntlet down. Any other country want to take this cup away from us? They are going to be a good side indeed.
Well, in the build-up, Ricky Stewart was saying he expected the players to be a little bit short of match fitness, a little bit short of the skills that they have demonstrated over the course of the years those fears are not very well founded. The Australians have hit the ground running in the World Cup 2008. Thurston to add the extras. He does. And Billy Slater's try improved by Jonathan Thurston, 24 points to 6.
Well, a lot of people thought New Zealand would really take them tonight. They had the opportunity. Coach Stephen Kearney said that they were up for it. Psychologically, they were in the good frame of mind, but I'm afraid they are looking very tired, and it normally comes about when you start going high, missing the tackles, that is the case. And against this Australian outfit, who are always looking for the opportunity.
Over 34,000 inside the Sydney Football Stadium tonight to watch this opening night for Australia and New Zealand. We had the opening match of the World Cup yesterday, of course, England beating Papua New Guinea by 32 points to 22. Earlier today, in case you missed it, France got the better of Scotland 36-18. Australia, though, by far producing the most impressive performances. Nathan Feen is penalised once again.
I think they're going to produce 1 or 2 more points, Eddie, in the remaining quarter of this game. They've dominated their opponents to such an extent that New Zealand are almost struggling to get back here on side for the restart of play.
Well, let's hope that they maybe have peaked a bit too early.
Well, I'm just going to enjoy the skill factor that
Yes.
the Kiwis are going to expose both on the right and left here. It's been pretty good so far. I think it's going to get better.
Yes, it has, and we can enjoy it tonight. We can sit back and wax lyrical about the skills. Let's hope we're not having to do the same next Sunday.
Well, sadly, Eddie, we've had to do that for 30-odd years, and we've wondered at it. Their ability to keep the ball alive.
Another try in the way here. There's another try in the way here. That's good defence. Good defence in the end on Kurt Gidley, brother of St Helens Matt Gidley, of course.
Well, he was offside, surely. That's the reason why he's play on.
6 to go, says Ashley Klein, as Thurston gobbles up the possession from the loose ball. They see the opportunity, they seize the opportunity. And here they come, and they're just held up short in the shape of Glenn Stewart. He'll play the ball a metre away, they go low! And it's a penalty to, and Matai's in more trouble. It's a penalty to New Zealand because it was a double movement, rules the referee.
He's been in the wars, hasn't he, Steve Matai? Problems with the wrist. Now it looks as though the left shoulder. He certainly put his body on the line on this occasion.
It was the tackle to stop, or try and stop, Glenn Stewart that caused all the bother.
I think it might have just been pulled out of the socket slightly there as well. Been a brave effort from Steve Matai, who perhaps was fortunate later on, earlier on, should I say, in this game.
Well, he's staying on the field, doesn't want to come off, does he? That's bravery for you.
But they've been outclassed, haven't they, by Australia?
Completely, so far. Lulawai gets the ball away, but no way through. Solid defence.
But did you see the position of the defence? How it came up, out quickly, out wide, and just forces New Zealand down the middle. They've had very few opportunities to go on the outside.
One so higher, that's a desperate kick. Slater will start the response. Now it's with Inglis. Quarter of an hour to go at the Sydney Football Stadium. Australia throwing down the gauntlet to the rest of the world in 2008. You want this cup? You come and take it from us if you can. England up next Sunday in Melbourne.
The obvious thing for everybody to see is you've got to stop Lockyer and Thurston controlling the game. But can you get the hands on them? It's very difficult indeed. You've got to be super fit, because all throughout this game, Australia have stood so deep, and they've controlled it from there. I think Darren Lockyer probably only played the ball twice in the entire game.
I was just about to ask either of you whether you can... Oh, there's a knock-on in the in-goal area. by Manu Vatuvei. I was going to ask the question of both of you. Can you remember the last time Darren Lockyer played the ball in this match?
I don't think that's because of Darren Lockyer's brilliance. I think that's because of the players around him and in front of him who are doing the work. Physically, they've worked that hard when they've defended that New Zealand aren't able to go forward. They can't find a fast player the ball that Nathan Fien would want or Dean Hallertau would be successful on the back of. And they've got bruises, black eyes, blood pouring out of them. And they've got 6 more tackles to try and defend the line here. This game will take a lot out of the Kiwis.
Papua New Guinea might be rubbing their hands that they've got New Zealand next week.
Well, I'm sure that Tony Smith and the English boys will be already plotting. They swept a few cobwebs away last night. They got it right late in the game. So they've got a lot to work with. Improvement, yes. Tony Smith made that quite clear, and I'm sure that the players understand that. But they're capable of doing it.
It's Paul Gallen here for Australia. 20 metres away from the New Zealand line. Halfway through this latest set of 6. Cameron Smith attacks them up the middle.
Will Thurston take them on?
Here he is. Now with Stewart. You're right, Phil. There are about 4 or 5 players sporting real black eyes for the Kiwis here. Thurston as they come down the short side. Inglis couldn't
Knocked
get the
off.
ball down.
Or was it stolen?
Well, Cameron Smith puts his arm up, claims a try.
Just check, was that ball stripped?
Was it stripped,
Forward.
says Ashley Klein, or was it knocked on? It's another decision for Steve Ganson to make.
Once again, referee
This time, though, the body language seems to indicate a knock-on, but we'll see.
with 12:15 remaining.
Quick hands yet again. Put himself in the right position. I think that's a knock-on.
I think on that angle he looked like he lost the ball, didn't he? As he pulls through the tackle there.
Ooh,
No, he's
yeah.
lost the ball there. It's a knock-on, Eddie.
It was stripped 1-on-1, so that's play on, and then he touched it a second time, so this shall be a knock-on.
I don't think Lulu is thinking of stripping it at that point. He's doing all he can to just hold on and stop him, Steve. I think the slow motion.
I'm with you. I think it's no try.
You don't think he flicked it back, English? No, it wasn't
No.
him that flicked it backwards.
Well, when he strips it away, it's 1-on-1, so that's play on. Then he has the opportunity, and then he drops it. So it's a knock-on. It can't be a try. But I'm not the video referee,
I'm just
and
wondering,
Steve Ganson is.
I'm just wondering here, look, he loses it.
And then he gets it and touches it again. So 1-on-1 is play on,
Yeah.
so it's a knock-on.
Yeah.
No try. And if it touches the opposition, which I think it may have done,
Yes.
only slightly, it's classified as a knock-on.
So if it's a knock-on in the in-goal area, it'll be a tap on the 20-metre line to New Zealand. It's about as close to get to the halfway line, isn't it, in the second half?
It is. A very dominant display from Australia.
And they've shared the work.
Look at that black eye in the background there. I think that's Sikamanu, isn't it?
Eddie, it's not Tiddlywinks.
I know, but the point Phil was making, here comes the decision, no try, and it is a 20-metre restart. The point Phil was making is the Kiwis have got that many bruises, bumps, strains, black eyes. They've been in a car wreck today. This is taking a lot out of them. And it's only the first match of the World Cup. They're keeping it going though, New Zealand, to the end. Oh,
Knock
dear.
on.
Knock on by Nathan Fien.
Is claiming that it's the fingertip, but it's all part of the game.
Let's go down to Bill and hear about the injuries.
Yeah, the only problem for Australia is the injury to Brent Tate. We saw him come off with real mystifying because it wasn't a particularly significant incident, but Tate seems to have come out of it with a couple of injuries. In fact, he's got a sternum problem and he's also got concussion, so he's picked up that problem, and he certainly won't be coming back, and they might well keep him under wraps, of course, for next weekend as well. A bit of a problem as well with Jonathan Thurston. He's picked up a bang. You might have seen him stretching his shoulders, and they might just decide to withdraw him from the fray and wrap him in cotton wool as well. The job done tonight.
Yes, thanks Bill, the job is done, there's no question about that now. Australia will be top of the table on points difference. at the end of the first round of matches in the Super Group. England will be second. Two unbeaten sides will meet in Melbourne next week. Something has got to give.
They've been so dominant. They've controlled the game. Very few passages of play that the Kiwis have really stretched their defence.
Even when they make a mistake, even when the ball goes to ground. Oh, look at this, he's stepping out of the challenges, Glenn Stewart.
Well, it's called second effort.
But absolutely, even as they make a mistake, there are 3-4 of them hunting the football. Here's Thurston. That one was a mistake from Lockyer. The man is a human.
When you're right there, and he just a little wave and says, sorry, but I think the rest of the team are fully aware of the importance of one Darren Lockyer. He's been superb. He's just controlled things. He's been the maestro.
Eddie, Australia have played very well tonight, but you and I sat in this exact same position 2 years ago and watched Great Britain beat Australia. They are beatable, you know. Sometimes we get carried away when they play to their full potential, which they have tonight. In fact, the difference between New Zealand, England and Australia at the moment, I would say, is that Australia look like a team who've played together for 12 months, but the other two nations look like they've just come together for the first game of a tournament. Unfortunately, this World Cup doesn't give you long to improve.
No, that's true, and it's a wonderful impression that the Australians are giving us, because there are 4 new caps here tonight, and they haven't played together since May. Yes, you're right, we were here 2 years ago, we saw Great Britain beat them, and it was a fantastic performance, but they couldn't sustain it.
No one's invincible, but the odds are against it. But, as I say, when we interview Ricky Stewart, I'm sure that he'll say, well, we're a little bit rusty in certain departments, and there's room for improvement. And that's frightening.
There is also room for improvement in England, and Tony Smith said exactly that last night in the interviews, didn't he? And that will have done them the power of good in Townsville last night, and they'll go to Melbourne confident and determined to do a job. Thurston leaves the field as Bill predicted he might.
Ricky Stewart said to his players this week that test matches provide you with special memories. He's obviously played in some now, and as a retired player could talk to the players about what they're going to experience in this World Cup. And I think that what he's ensured here is that his players have really got up for this first game tonight.
The problem with the shoulder for Thurston. Here's Slater again. Nathan Feen has worked his socks off for the Kiwis.
He's been their best player by a mile.
Lockyer's kick drifts again over the top. Look the way it stands up and asks the question of Sam Perrick. You've got the ball, right, try and get it away from your own line.
Just teases them, doesn't it? They're so strong in that marker department. Work hard. That as they get it up from doing the tackle, they're talking to each other. I'm going left, you're going right. Combination pretty good.
And look at the speed of the play of the ball though. Again, at times the 5 and 6 second play of the balls, because Australia have managed to get 4 men in the tackle.
And that's the key for England, isn't it? They'll have to tackle their hearts out next Sunday morning, and they will try and do that, there's no question.
But they looked at the best when they did find some speed, and Roby was able to get out of acting half-back, as he's done so well for St Helens this season and last. So the quick and the speed of the round the play, the ball area, is essential for England.
Well, he's key. I thought he was our best player last night, Roby. I thought he was outstanding.
There's a penalty to New Zealand, which relieves the pressure somewhat.
And that's another thing that Australia are very, very good at, their discipline. And I think Kurt Gidley will say, well, I tried my best to get in a square up position. But the key is shutting down Lockyer and Thurston. If we can do that, we've got a great chance. But doing that is not easy.
Well, Leon Price and Rob Burrow are the men probably charged with that task, but they're due a big game in this World Cup. And who knows, maybe they just kept things under wraps last night. Maybe they didn't show their true hand.
Listen, we won. That was the most important factor.
The glass is half full, not half empty. 24-6 here to Australia as we approach the final 5 minutes, but it's the Kiwis who are on the offensive with Benji Marshall. He gets it away. They've got to try, the Kiwis. And it's from Jerome Rapati.
Check that ground there, Steve.
He's just going to check the grounding via Steve Ganson.
I don't think there's any problem with it.
Once again, we go to our video referee. The clock stops
Well,
at 6
full
minutes
credit to them.
29 remaining.
We mentioned early in the game that there was one thing that they needed was a penalty to get them to. Ooh, did he get it in the? Did he get the proper downward pressure in control?
Oh no, there's a foot in there.
There's a
It's Billy
boot.
Slater's
Billy
foot.
Slater comes through with the left boot. Has it been dislodged?
Isn't it funny? You can't strip the ball going over the line, but he's put his foot there, so he's effectively kicked the ball out. Is that a penalty for dangerous play, or just
Well,
a load of try?
Does this come under ungentlemanly conduct?
Well, if he was a soccer full-back making a tackle like that, you'd be proud of him if you were a soccer manager.
Yeah.
Is it a penalty try then? Because he stripped the ball, there's more than one in the tackle.
Yes.
I think it will be,
No.
Phil.
Penalty tries will not be awarded for
They'll get the
our
penalty.
Super League last year. They could have a penalty, yeah.
Now that's classified as a strip, so it'll be a penalty. Or it has to be. Or there's got to be some... I'm not the best on rules, as you know, Eduardo. But I think that that would come under ungentlemanly conduct.
I don't think he's grounded it, has he? I think
No,
that's conclusive.
you can't
Steve
award it.
Ganson's now got to decide how to restart the match.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if it says ref's call. Billy Slater laughing and saying, well, I got my boot to it. I'm not so sure whether that's allowed.
Got there as quick as I could.
Got there in time.
But it's on its way, the decision from Steve Ganson. A 20-metre restart. That means he's deemed that the ball has been knocked on then, does it?
Yep. Well, we'll have to check that one out. And they all look a little bit confused.
Are slide tackles with a man with the ball in hand now a rule in the World Cup of 2008?
Well, it appears that way. So instead of reefing the ball, kick it out.
Stand, wait.
The first
Well.
weekend has given us things to talk about and think about for a week, hasn't it?
Well, Billy Slater, you saw on the earlier shot, he was laughing to his colleagues, saying, well, I'm not so sure you can do that. It's a weird one. Oh, great tackle. Now, if you'd have seen a little bit of that earlier from Vatavai, and the same sort of response. Oh, look at that.
A cruncher on Anthony Tutu.
Ooh. So where did he come from? Bang! Oh boy. That does do your ribs no good whatsoever.
Cameron, Billy, I need to
That had occurred in the opening seconds rather than the last few seconds. Could have been a different story.
The one thing that New Zealand will say is, yes, you know, outplayed, but look at the scoreboard. Only 18 points. It's not a hammering.
No, they've scrambled back.
And had that try been allowed, or had they got the ball down, who knows?
The one thing that I do notice about this Australian defence is that we said that they're very compact, and on occasions they come in on the angle. Now the way that you can beat them is either to kick over the top to the outside towards the centres, or even the long ball.
They're finishing on a bit of a high here, New Zealand. They've discovered a bit of form. And there's Marshall, and he gets the ball away, and that is Setamata Tsar. And he plays the ball to Nathan Feen. It's Lulawai, stabs the ball in, and it's poor. And Slater will respond.
Good job there that Rapira got there in time. But Slater looked as though he was getting into top gear. And so's Gidley.
Well, I'm getting some information about that.
Big error there.
It was. Getting information about that no try decision from Steve Ganson. He has ruled, the video referee, it was a knock on, and the boot had nothing whatsoever to do with the knock on.
Opticians for me tomorrow.
Good attendance tonight
Come on. Be down.
at the Sydney Football Stadium, which, although it's dwarfed now by the Olympic Stadium on the other side of town,
Stay in. Be down, Josh.
I'm always impressed when I come here. It's a great stadium. Isn't it?
Tremendous stadium,
Lance O'Hire for New Zealand.
especially for the fans, because irrespective of where you'd sit, you get a magnificent view. And if you like to see tactics and moves, if you're high, it's amazing. It's like having a camera over the top of the ground.
Drive in by Sam Rapira. They're finishing, as I said, with pride in the jersey, the New Zealanders, as Feen finds Luluai, who finds Benji Marshall. To keep it alive, Lance O'Hire was there in support. Down he goes, though. Look at the Australian defence. But at least the Kiwis in the last 5 minutes or so have been asking a few questions. Marshall again. He hands it on to Saar.
Trouble is, Australia have come up with the answers.
Last tackle here. He's injured, Saar, or he's in pain. Marshall stabs the ball in. Easily picked up by the substitute, Anthony Tupu.
Took it well. It's bobbled a little bit.
There's Monaghan again.
Don't be surprised if Australia throw a long ball out wide, miss 2 or 3 players.
And it's easy to focus on what Australia do in attack, passing and kicking the ball, supporting the man with the ball. But I think defensively they've been outstanding tonight. Apart from one system error when it did break down and New Zealand went through to score. Even then on their own line, when they were outnumbered, the connection between the 3 defenders wide out, working together really to help one another and repel whatever New Zealand could throw at them, you know, was world class and worthy of world champions.
That's Josh Perry driving the ball over halfway. Here's Lockyer again. This is Gidley. Gidley gets it away to Inglis. Inglis down the line for Monaghan to chase. Well, it was dealt with in the end by Lance O'Hire, but he just ran the ball out of play. The scrum will go down.
But it's the pressure they apply all the time. All across the park, they've got quality players, capable of putting something different together. Good work by the full-back. But they know they've been in a battle royal, and they've come up against a superior side. All the big guns for Australia certainly have fired tonight.
It's Billy Slater from the base of the scrum. Flicks the ball into the loose forward, Paul Gallen.
Good tackle by Saar.
Here's Cameron Smith. And that's LaFranchi. Cam Smith is chunnering, chatting. Here's Lockyer. Lockyer gives it to Gidley. Gidley gives it to Inglis. Good defence from New Zealand. Last minute. They don't want to let the Aussies in and make it 30. That's obvious. Gallen. Hands again, Inglis. Solid defence on the run from Tupu, but he still managed to get it away. Brilliant hands from Slater. Wonderful try from Israel Folau. Second try for Folau tonight. And the icing goes on the cake for the Kangaroos. 28 points to 6. Last minute of the match. They never know when the final siren's on the way, this lot. They just keep on going.
What about the speed of the pass from Billy Slater? Got involved early. We spoke about the fact the second effort. Slater put a look at that. Oh, that should be shown to youngsters all over the world that want to play this great game of ours. Ability. Look at that. Benji Marshall was going to go through and take out Billy Slater. Oh, no, he wasn't. The speed. Even though it's been slowed down, it'll still look too fast for the Kiwis. Involved. Does he stop? No. Opportunity. Superb.
Lightning quick hands.
No other word for it.
He enjoyed that, didn't he? The teenager, Israel Folau.
Wonderful player. They've got so much speed out wide. All the three quarters.
Cameron Smith, can he add the extras? He can. Well, the number one goal kicker's off the field and they come up with a replacement like that. That's the end of the match. The Australians have thrown down the gauntlet to the other 10 teams, the other 9 teams rather, in this 2000